Right. Grand Rising. Good morning on this Wednesday morning. Welcome to our Wednesday morning prayer and meditation hour. We give thanks once again for being able to come together in this space as we sit around the spiritual fire, sharing and centering ourselves and just spending quality time with one another in this virtual sister circle. I give thanks for the spirit, the creative source of consciousness that is in each and every one of us, for our ancestors, the angels, and the guides that meet us here and support us and encourage us to be our most authentic selves, giving us information to enlighten us and to expand us and continue to navigate this life, seeing the beauty, the blessings, and acknowledging all the good things. We give thanks also for an opportunity to pray together, to send out energy into our community in love and light, holding space for those who are in the struggle right now, praying for resolve and for comfort in their hearts, and also those who are opening up and seeing new things for the first time. We hold space and joy and in hope and all those things so that they can continue to grow and expand and experience life full out. So welcome everyone this morning. This is Adeshina Shindara, Lady Indigo of Indigo Rising, Healing Through Wholeness. Okay, ladies, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All right. So that we can see what the invitation look like. Let's see. All right. Can you see that? Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, by releasing old patterns, beliefs, and stories, I am creating space for new possibilities, is our theme this morning. As we yet again go to another level of purging and pruning and releasing ourselves from anything that has us stagnant, has us running game on ourselves, right? As to why we are not living full out, not trying new things, not allowing ourselves to experience things that we've never experienced before. Whatever those things are that make us shrink and not show up as our full authentic selves. We're just giving ourselves permission to release it.
What's going on here?
And so, Dharma, you want to mute your line?
I don't know what's going on here. I'm trying to fix my screen. It's black.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on. I was using my phone on Sunday, so it may be on Zoom on my phone. Let's see what's going on. I have a screen.
Okay. Let's see. Let's do this. Stop sharing. Hey, Drea. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How you doing?
All is well. All is well.
All right.
I think we're all happy to be here. And
Yeah.
yeah, your screen is black, Sister Dharma.
Oh,
Okay. I'm gonna mute. But I'm gonna mute your. There you go. I see Debonique is coming in. I see Lenore's coming in.
Good morning.
Shay. And rising, Debonique and Lenore.
Good morning.
Mm-hmm. I invited some new sisters to come into the space, um, whom I met this weekend. So hopefully they'll join us this week and just partake in the magic that happens here. Um, Last week, our our session was really beautiful, and I have made it a point to record so that I could share with the full roster of women who received the invitation. So um, at least they all have the opportunity to know what's going on in this space. And even though some of them desire to be here in the morning, the hour is too early, but they can still benefit from the conversation um, further. So I give thanks for, Spirit just placing that in my heart to go ahead and send that out to everyone on the roster. And I've been getting a lot of feedback, believe it or not. I've been getting a lot of texts and people saying, thank you for that. They're actually listening. So our time here is really more valuable than just to us. And we know that you can always go onto the Indigo Rising Healing Through Wholeness YouTube page and find all of the recordings over the past couple of years when we were recording in that space. So you can go back and listen also for yourselves. But back to the situation at hand, giving ourselves permission to release old information, to release things that are clogging up space. When we release that, we open space and we create space so that a new possibility or a new situation has a space to come into. We've been talking a lot about manifesting and understanding that everything we need is right in our vortex and that our thoughts are creating all the time and our hearts are pulling that creation into this reality at light speed as soon as we believe it and believe what our thought is and connect it to an emotion so that we can feel what it would be like or what it's like to have those things in real time. They show up. And one of the things in manifesting and attracting is having the space for those things. You know, it's kind of like I love new clothes, but I don't have any space in my closet anymore to put those clothes. So my daughter always says, if you're going to buy something, you have to let go of at least, two or three items so that you have space for this new thing. And that's the same thing here in our lives as we continue to grow and create space for new opportunities, new possibilities, creating the life that we desire and we deserve. We must also practice releasing and creating the space for those new things to exist. And that's pretty much what I'd like to just expound on today in our conversation. What are some of those things that are still holding us back? And I'm going to give us some language to use to explain those things that I'm talking about. What are those stories that we're telling ourselves that exist alongside of our knowing how powerful we are and um, understanding, quote unquote, the formula for attracting the life that we want and doing the things that we want. And we are getting a lot of those things in real time. But there's something that's also present in us that has an equal value to us because that's all we know. And that's the stories that we tell ourselves. So each time we say, I want to do this, or I'm going to do this, or I'm attracting this in our lives, in my life, what are those stories that we tell ourselves that muddies up the beeline for those things to happen in our lives? And that's the stories we say, I'm not good enough. Um, I want this, but will it really happen for me? Um, if I get it, what am I going to do with it? We tell ourselves these stories around money. We always say, I'm going to manifest money. But in the back of your mind, you're saying, I'm financially unstable. Money is always hard for me. I need more of it, blah, blah, blah. And so there's two existing thoughts in our mind, and they're totally polar opposites of each other. And they hinder us from living full out and receiving everything that we want in this life. And so, can any of you just expound on what I'm saying? I'm going to go ahead and put the invitation back up. But what did it draw up for you in your life? Anyone? Can we all see that?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right. And when I look at this, I'm just looking at this person. I'm looking at myself, all of us, just staring out into an abyss of endless possibilities. But in order for those possibilities to yield the fruit, for us to be able to pull them into this reality, we must make space for them. And once we know how to make space for them, it's endless as to how much we can acquire experience in this life. Does that make sense for everyone?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
If I may,
sure. Come on in, Lenore.
it's so funny that you are talking about this because I was literally kind of, I wasn't able to sleep. I've been up since 2 this morning, but
Mm,
um, mm, kind of this morning marinating on just getting rid of physical things in my life right now.
mm-hmm,
I feel a little bit overwhelmed by and 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 not intentionally. There's just there's stuff I want out and away from my space.
mm-hmm,
And and feeling weighed down, like not feeling weighed down physically and emotionally and mentally by things that I seem like I can't get rid of.
Got it.
Um, and and I was thinking about how necessary it was to throw these things away. Like I've been wanting to rehome them, like make sure that they go to a good place, to a place where they can be of use. Like even like books that my son read as a child, I'm like, I would really like to see these go
Mm-hmm.
to particular types of families, like, maybe, families who don't have access to books or communities
Mm-hmm.
or schools that don't have access to books. So I'm holding on to them because I want to make sure they go to the right person,
Mm-hmm.
which means I just end up holding on to them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you know what I mean? And
I do.
because God knows I don't have time to like actually seek out, people to, um, but it's a weight on me. It's burdensome.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and 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 um, and I just want to be free of the stuff, um, so that I could just so I can clear the space to see and to think and to like imagine it's like there's so much clutter that I can't even imagine myself without it.
Without
And
it. Yeah.
I want to, because I know that I feel like the better part of me is on the other side of releasing all the stuff. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but I'm
You're making a lot of sense.
what I'm feeling right now. Um, so this feels very um in alignment with what
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling right now, because I think there's a lot of things that I want to release,
Right.
physically and mentally, and ways of thinking. And I'm gonna add this. I don't know, I'm rambling. The other thing that I'm releasing right now is some patterns of belief about, um like, I realized that I'm holding people and situations in my life hostage to beliefs that I have about them, or
Mm.
fears that I have about them,
Come on.
right? And so, and like just the other morning, it might have been like not that long after the last time we met, so it might have been like last Thursday or Friday, when I realized that I really needed to go back to believing what I knew to be true, which is that that everybody's on their own, that these people are all on their own journey,
Mm-hmm.
that I need to hold them in the light, like in the belief that I know that they're going to manifest, like in spite of how they're showing up now,
Yes. In spite
right?
of how they're showing up now.
Yeah, right. That they're going to um it's not even like they're gonna be their highest and best self.
Yeah,
Like
it's not like who they're showing up right now. It's who they are doomed to be forever.
yes, yes.
Right.
And
And
I
I think,
needed to let go of like feeling like I needed to control and help everybody get and push everybody and make somebody be there right now.
come on. Come
And
on. So
and and
that's big.
and releasing them from that allows me to be um unburdened
Mm-hmm.
from the need to have to control everything, and also the need to worry about
Mm-hmm.
everything. Um,
Mm-hmm. Because how's
and
that working for you? It's not you worrying and stressing and trying to fix them and get them in alignment because it's uncomfortable for you to see them showing up that way. But
yes,
but
yeah,
it's not changing their process at
no.
all.
And the process is the process.
Yes.
The process is the process. And the process happens
Mm-hmm.
with or without me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just need to hold space and bear witness to their process.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot what my role is.
Come
I
on.
forgot that that was my role.
I like
And,
it.
and so I need to and so that's one of those other things that I'm just like releasing right now.
Well, right there, what you said that, thank you for sharing that. But that opens up this as we go into other people sharing with all the energy that you were using to quote unquote fix, enlighten, lead, guide, worry about situations that you can't control, being other people's processes, other people's journeys, and trying to identify the other people um, or the other situations and categorize where they were, what they were doing, why they shouldn't be doing that, what they should be doing, how much you wish they would be doing or being. By releasing all of that, what can you now do with that energy?
Right. Right. Yeah, exactly. And I also realized that, and I'm just gonna say this, I'm allow space for other people to speak. Is
Mm-hmm.
that it is the it's the opposite of believing the best of them.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I will say, you know what I mean, I see you, I I see the best in you.
Mm-hmm.
I see you as whole, perfect, and complete. And then I act like they're not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to control them and mold them and shape them. And so I'm not acting in alignment with what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I believe that you are right now in this moment, whole, perfect, and complete, regardless of circumstance, then
Mm-hmm.
that means I need to then that means I can step back because you're whole, perfect, and complete.
Mm-hmm. And that
And,
the
and
same thing that's inside of you is
yeah,
inside of them.
yeah, yeah,
And where they are on their journey does not define them. It's just where they are on their journey.
exactly. And so I just, yeah, that just came to me, I think, after last week's.
Ashe. So again, you have time and you have space. You're clearing up space so that you can create whatever it is you want with that energy. You can support your goals, you can support your healing and whatever is going on in completing yourself with that energy that you've been expending, kind of like throwing into a bottomless pit, right? Because you're making space
Yeah,
to do that. Ashe, give thanks. And that is that was the intention in a nutshell of this whole thing, is recognizing those areas that we're expending our energy in that's draining us because we're putting it into things that have into dead end places. We're putting it into reliving the past. We're putting it into fretting about the future. We're putting it into trying to make our lives a perfect situation based on um, what will make us quote unquote happy. But the truth of the matter is, we don't
Right.
control any of those things. Um, so releasing or untethering ourselves to the need to be in those spaces is free. And when we feel free, we're open to create, we're open to see beautiful things, we're open to live less encumbered, we're open to be more real and present in our own lives. And like I said, we can work on our own 10 questions, right? And that's what I just wanted to bring to the table this morning. So thank you, Lenore, for that. Is there anyone else who wants to address this? And
Um, I, mine. Okay, so mine is like related to like stories. So lately I've been trying to um piece together, I think, things that happened to me as a child. I don't know why I'm doing that because I've been reading a book that is related to childhood trauma, and a lot of times um, we're not aware of the childhood traumas and how they affect the way that we move in our life to today. And so I've been trying to like question like my elders who know me when I was little and were there, and trying to piece together certain things that might have happened or I experienced that are affecting the way that I'm moving in my life today. But what I noticed is the more information I'm getting about certain things that happened when I was a child, it's like you said, it's a release. So it's allowing me now to understand myself a little in a different way, and I'm doing things a little differently too because I'm aware of the old pattern that was created through the child. I still call it childhood traumas. It may not be what when we hear trauma, we always think of abuse in some form, but it doesn't
Right.
always have to relate to physical or mental abuse. It could be just any little thing that affected you in a way, and it may have been it didn't have to be intentional. It may not have even been just something that you may not even realize that it just created a trauma for you, and just change the way that or just is affecting the way that you move in life today. And it
Correct.
may not always be it may not always be negative, but it may not always be beneficial to your existence in my case.
To your
But
expansion as an adult, right?
yeah, exactly. So I noticed by getting those stories or collecting them and getting them and being able to kind of categorize them or even letting them go once I find out like what really happened or how it um I don't even know how to say. I was
How,
able to release that. I was able to let it
yeah.
go. Then never, so it never comes back again. I'm not dwelling on it. I'm just letting it go. So I feel like that's allowing me to expand. Like you said, I can expand in different way, in other ways. I can use that energy that I was using to question the unknown. Oh, I wonder why this was like this. Oh, I wonder what happened. I can use that energy for something else now because
Right.
those questions have been answered. I've dealt with them, and now they're gone.
Ashe.
They're gone.
Okay.
So
Thank you for that, Drea. That's really profound because how many times are we trying to figure out why am I like this or what caused me to be this way? And a really good way to sum that up is we call that doing shadow work, going in and asking those hard questions, really doing deep self reflection and, you know, discovering why we show up this way in this situation or why when we're in a space we default to this way of thinking. What persona do we take on to survive in this situation or to get along in this situation? So that's really good, and it starts, like you said, in those formative years in childhood when we are. I said it last week, being domesticated as a human. We come here as these wild children full of just awe with life, and things happen to shape us um, based on our environment, just the world in general. And we have to make adaptations, adaptations to survive. Um, that's when we get our belief system, from those around us, whatever it is, whether it's given to us verbally or we learn it through um, behavioral patterns. We begin to categorize what's right and what's wrong instead of just experiencing life. And so, like you said, it doesn't have to be some horrific situation that um, colors how we see the world. It can just be the normal movement of life in our environment, and we change, right? We adapt. We suppress what we would normally do naturally, and sometimes those things are so overwhelming to us, we can't deal with it. We push it deep down inside of us, and that's how we cope. We suppress, we repress, we don't deal with it because at the time we don't have the ability to deal with it. So we kind of put it in a little file. But each time we create a file, it alters how we move through the world. We have yet another file. And so it's wonderful that the first thing is an awareness that we're doing these things, awareness that we have these things, awareness that there's something that needs to be um, looked at closer. And then we accept that we've been moving this way, that this has been affecting us in a certain way. And when we've made that full acceptance of that, now we're open to so much access of so much resources and information. Spirit will just flood us with people and books or time to reflect in ourselves and tools and messages and people who will love us through. We have access to everything we need to come into a place of completion with ourselves. And then the last thing we do now is we're making better actions. We're more clear. We're not so encumbered, and we're moving differently. And we do that millions and millions and millions and millions of times in our lives as we make our choices in our lives. So that's a beautiful thing. Thank you for sharing. Debonique, I see you're unmuted. Would you like to speak?
Oh, no, I didn't realize I was unmuted. I guess let me look at this.
No worry. Don't feel pressure.
No,
It's okay.
no, it's all right. I can come into the room. I am I am in a space as well where I am getting rid of old things around the house. I'm going from room to room and just releasing because sometimes when we collect so many things, we forget that it's even in there, and we find
Mhm.
ourselves out in the stores buying more of what we already have because we are not taking time to access the things that we do have.
Mhm.
And when you are in that space, what happens is you begin to collect and collect more and collect more. You find yourself double buying and
Yeah.
so there's this saying when you first were given the disclaimer, my phone died. So I missed a big chunk of what you were saying. But what it thought about, there's a saying that I always say that I got from a Wayne Dyer book that um, in the afternoon, the truths of the mornings become lies. And in
Mhm.
the evenings, the truth of the mornings become, the afternoon become lies. And so it's really, as you grow and you learn, things that used to work for you, um, they stop working because once you
Mhm.
get to another level, you need a new set of tools. Not to say you got to
Mhm.
throw away all the old tools, but a lot of them, they don't work in this space. And
Mhm.
so being able to release, it's like, if you have your hand closed, can't put anything in there and you
Right.
can't take anything out of there. You have to come being open, and as spirit unctions you, like this part of life, you don't need anymore. You use that to protect yourself because of what happened when you were younger. But now that you're operating in this space, you don't need protection. You just need to be open.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's
You are
real.
protected, and so,
Mm-hmm.
just moving around the house and I'm in a very new space of life, and it's really trippy because I am learning that I quit things. Like if it get too heavy or hard,
Mm-hmm.
like I will leave it on the table. I'm like, I can't do this. This is overwhelming me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, God has put me in a place where um He's brought a lot of new into my life. He's got me into a new church home. He's got me in a new job, a new mindset in this space of life.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody knows the new can be a little challenging because it requires you to pull from a space that you never had to. But the difference in right now, I can feel all these things being the right space. It's exactly what I need for this season of my life. But I'm
Okay.
tired of shit, man. I'm so fucking tired. Excuse my language. I just have to. I'm so tired.
Well, let
And
me ask you this. Let me excuse me for crossing you right here.
that's okay.
So now that you have now that you have pointed out a lot of the things that you had been moving through and dealing with that are no longer serving you, you have this, you're releasing these things, these patterns, these ways of thinking and all the stories that you told yourself, and you have been created this new space. What are the possibilities in the new space? What are the possibilities there?
Well, that's I am learning how to stand still. I think that what are the new possibilities?
Mm-hmm.
I mean I'm growing, and
Mm-hmm.
that is a huge thing. I'm learning how to stand still and what's really necessary, which is just me coming to the table,
Mm-hmm.
being able to stand and as I stand, these the parts of myself settle, and it's all a learning process. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's important for I know the one possibility that I'm pushing for right now is
Mm-hmm.
just to be able to have right now my life needs routine and structure. It's a
Okay.
and it's uncomfortable because it's the beginning and I feel tired. But
Okay.
I know that over time it'll
Mm-hmm.
and it's the old things will fall away naturally. It's not anything that I have to do because as I'm moving in this new direction, I don't have to harbor on anything. I just got to keep going forward. And
Okay.
everything
Stop
that
you
is
right. I'm gonna stop you right there because I want to stay you right where I want us to be.
okay.
You've talked this. You've got us right where I want us to be, and so I'm gonna thank you for that. But I'm gonna talk right here because I don't want to lose this spot for everybody that's on the call because you
Okay.
brought us into a great space. So we've done a lot on this in our calls over the past 3 years. First of all, grounding ourselves and taking ourselves out of a place of fear and instability. When we first got on the call, really trying to figure out what's going on around us and find ourselves and bring balance and centering to ourselves, to a space where now we have been talking a lot about releasing old patterns, releasing ourselves, freeing ourselves from mindsets and generational norms and social norms and all that. So we're pretty much clear that there's a time when we have to purge ourselves, we have to prune ourselves, we have to allow whatever processes we use to release ourselves from those stagnant mindsets, right? And now that we're doing that, we're creating all this space for new things. And we don't have to pull any of that old stuff into this new space. We don't have to release it pretty or do anything with it. We don't have to, make sure that all that crap is in a good place. We just need to let it go, get rid of it, right? Move from it, walk away from it. And in doing that, now we're creating this space. So this is the place I want to go to now. What are we going to do in this new space? And I want all of us to think about that as we go into our meditation this morning. What are we going to do with all this new space that has been cleared up? All of this unknown territory that we can create anything that we want in it, that we can show up and input and create whatever we want in this space, right? We don't want to bring in the mindsets, the patterns, the way, none of that, because this is all new. We've cleaned it up top to bottom. We've swept it out. We've taken out the trash in our spiritual, mental, emotional, physical lives. We've done all that. So now we're sitting in this empty space. And we have all of our energy. We have all of our creativity. We have all of our imagination. We have the knowing that we're powerful and our words are powerful. We have our tools. We have everything that we need in this space. And what are we going to do with that space? And it's different for everyone. What are we going to create in that space? What are we going to call in? What are we going to create, invent for ourselves in our jobs, in our lives, in our relationships, in our businesses? How are we going to show up there? As we've always said, we have the power to create the life that we desire and deserve. So we've done a lot of work up to this time. So I want everybody to get that in their mind. What does that look like for you? Just clear space. That room in your house that you cleared everything out and you can decorate it any way you want. And you go into that space with enthusiasm and you're like, oh my gosh, I can put this here, that here, this here, that here. And none of the old furniture fits in that space. You have a clean slate. And everything you put in there is your choice. And by the way, I learned the difference between a choice and a decision. A decision is based on information that you already have. I'm deciding to do this because I don't want that or because I think this is better. There's always a because with a decision. But a choice is a choice. You choose simply because that's what you choose. You don't even know. You're not choosing it based on anything other than that's what I want to do. So that's a new way. I'm choosing a husband because I want a husband that is faithful to me and loving and kind to me. But I'm not choosing a faithful and loving, kind husband because my last husband was terrible to me. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that makes perfect sense.
All right. So let's just mull that over. And again, thank you, Deb, for bringing us into this space, bringing us up to exactly where we want to be this morning so that we can begin to formulate the possibilities of what could be in the space that we've been creating for the last year of purging and letting go and coming to terms and releasing. And thank you again, Lenore, as well, for being honest about how the worrying and the fixing and all of that has taken up so much of your space. and letting that go. And Drea, again, the input of really bringing to the forefront that we are working in this life from the mindset of when things happen. That's how we see the world. When we were 5 years old, maybe you didn't understand something, so your interpretation made you see life this way and move through life that way. Maybe it was at earlier than that. Maybe it was in your teens, something happened and you said, this is how I must move through life. And you said it subconsciously and you didn't realize that it was showing up in everything you did. And I think that's all of us can relate to that. But in this new space that we've created, who can we be? Is there anyone who wants to say anything before we begin the prayer and then the breathing? We're going to breathe
Good
this
morning.
morning.
I wanted to just say good morning, everybody. And
Mm-hmm.
I think I had already started to film my new space. I hadn't really, well, I knew what I was doing, but I hadn't thought about it that it's the new space that I've been doing. So for the last week, I have been going to the hospital, praying for, I think I had gone like 5 times, praying for people that were sick. And one of the ladies that I prayed for passed away. She transitioned on yesterday. I just got a text about it. It was my
Mm-hmm.
nephew's grandmother, and I went to see
Mm-hmm.
her twice. But I just felt really good about what I was doing, and nobody asked me to do it. It was just something I wanted to do. I had a desire to do, but I
Mm-hmm.
knew this was something that my father used to do. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he had his Bible and he would go around and pray for the sick and the shut in. That was just something he did. And I thought about it. I said, oh my goodness, I'm just doing what Daddy used to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
felt so good about doing it. And when you said that, releasing those old patterns and what are we going to do with the new space? How are we going to feel it? And I thought, oh my goodness, I'm feeling the new space. Praise God. Praise
Ashe.
God.
And
Praise
how does
God.
that make you feel? I hear it in your voice. Tell me how it
Oh,
makes you feel.
excited, excited, excited. It's not about me. It's about serving, serving, serving. And I never wanted to, like to be a servant, but we
Mm-hmm.
are supposed to be a servant and do what we can do for others and not be
Yeah.
selfish, centered and all about me, 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 me. We become a me devil. But so I just feel good. I feel really good. I told my sisters, so I went to the hospital 5 times. And then somebody said, well, you sound like you're bragging. And then somebody else said, well, you can brag on something like that. You're not boasting in yourself. You're just thankful that the light bulb went off and you're
Mm-hmm.
serving and you're doing something that you think is worthwhile. And I felt just excited and giving love. It just felt good about it. And no one was my blood relative. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and, sometimes, we go see our own folks, but we won't do nothing for nobody else. So I
Mm-hmm.
just felt good. I felt good. Praise God, praise God, praise God.
Well, Ashe. Give thanks. Thank you for sharing. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I just want to remind everybody that what you do with your space is your business, right? And what you do with it, if it feels good to you, then it feels good to you. And if it's serving, if it's doing more self-care, if it's writing, if it's creating, if it's resting, if it's whatever it is that that space means to you, and you can be authentic in that new space, because that's the goal, is to create a space where you can show up as yourself, right, fully as yourself, and create from a place that feeds your soul. And there's no right way to do it, and there's no wrong way to do it. It's your way to do it. And one of the things that we're releasing is trying to please anybody in how we are finding our happiness or discovering things about ourselves. So If it feels good to go and sit and pray with people, it feels good to you. And that's what you want to do. And you're doing that, you're choosing that because that's what you choose. And how you decorate your room, how you fill your space is yours. So we're saying that. Thank you, Lena, for that. Is there anyone else that'd like to speak at this time?
I would like to say something, Anashina.
Okay.
And sisters, I've been wanting to say something. I've been fooling around with this Zoom thing the whole morning and I couldn't unmute. So now I finally unmuted. And every time somebody spoke, I wanted to say something. So now I'm stopped on this. And I want to share this with everybody on the line. And I get it, what everybody is saying, where all of us at. And I came to this spot last week and I was standing in the middle of my living room and it just came up in my spirit to do it. And I hugged myself and I say, you know what? I'm going to trust you with you.
Yeah.
And everything is fine. And just out of that mindset, that's what I hear us saying, different mindsets, getting rid of this. But just the mindset that we could trust ourselves with ourselves to find what we need, how we need it, how we use things, how we don't use things. And at the end of the day, it's okay. Everything is okay. We're exactly what we need to be, doing exactly what we need to be doing for ourselves. And it's fine.
Ashe.
Ashe.
That's right.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Angel. And that is
I
true.
think I got that from a conference somewhere years ago. Like, have you ever hugged yourself? Like, actually put your arms around yourself?
Yeah, I have.
It's kind of weird, but it's
Wait.
such a good feeling. And
It's
just tell yourself, I trust you with you.
Ashe. Thank you for that. And I think that everything that we've said this morning, it goes hand in hand. We say trust the process, trust ourselves. We have the power. We have what we need to create the world that we want to exist in. It starts by being really honest with ourselves about what's not working and what's wasting our time and our energies and our efforts, and what it is that we truly desire so that we can make space for that. And once that space is made, being really aware of what we're bringing into that space, because we're manifesting second by second by second. Every choice is bringing on a different stitch in our quilt, right? So again, I just want to reiterate how the cycle has gone from instability and fear and uncertainty and grief and grieving things and holding on and doing a lot of things that we do as humans, but it keeps us in the same place. It keeps our feet stuck in a place, and having the courage to release those things that are familiar. We know what our houses look like, and we know those things that's in it. They're familiar to us, and on some level, they bring us comfort. But to have the courage to clear them out, to let them go, to not worry, to not try to fix, to not try to change, to just allow things to be and trust that the same energy, spirit, consciousness that's in each and every one of us is in each and every one of us. That each and every one of us is fulfilling a specific, necessary, vital assignment within the all, no matter what it looks like to us. They're exactly doing and being what they need to be. And that we can release that need to control and take our power back and use it to build, use it to heal, use it to expand ourselves and to deal with those things that are preventing us from living a full and robust life. Ashe?
Ashe.
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 And with that, if we could just take in a deep breath through our nose, out through the mouth, another deep breath in through the nose, and out through the mouth. As we just allow ourselves to really think about this new space and the new possibilities. What's in front of us, the opportunity to really move in a total creative space, to just be who we want to be. Just think about how beautiful that would feel. Just have an opportunity to go in and decorate or manifest those things in our lives that we desire and feel good about doing it, and not attached to any stories, any old information, but just being in the curious wonderment of what's new. And that's what I loved about the picture. The person is looking out and it's colorful, it's bright, it's promising. Now, are there words that, what word would you describe your empty room? One word would you describe your space that you created? What could be in that space? One word. What does it look like? For me, it's endless beauty and wonder. That's not one word, but you know what I mean. Anybody want to come in and just describe what that looks like?
I was thinking about that when I was talking about replacing, the space. Mine would be filled with determination and restored confidence.
I like that. All right.
Mine would be filled with peace of God that surpasses all understanding. I've been getting a little taste of that, and I tell you, it's the sweetest bread I ever tasted.
All right. Thank you for that. Anyone else?
Energy and vibrant life.
All right. Thank you, Miss Leva. Welcome to the spaces.
Thanks. Good to see you, Queen, and everybody else on here.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Enthusiasm.
Mm-hmm. Ashe. Thank you, Miss Aretha.
Dorma, completion, and completion.
All right. Thank you, Sister Dharma. Come on
Mine will
in.
be filled with
Oh, come on, Raylene.
peace, peace and ease.
Peace and ease. I like that. Thank you, Ray.
Mm.
Is it me?
Yeah, come on, Angel.
You guys would never know where I'm at on the Zoom. This thing is a mess this morning. My space is just calm.
Mm.
All right. All right. So you'd fill it with calm.
Yeah, it's just filled with calm. Like
Beautiful.
it's just calm all the way through. My space just calm.
That's beautiful. What about you, Miss Stephanie?
Restorement and renewal.
All right. Like it. Who else? I didn't hear from you, Lena. Are you there, Lena? Okay. All right. Well, that's beautiful. I want you to hold on to that as we close our eyes and we give thanks. We give thanks for another opportunity to meet together. We go into a space that's comfortable, has confidence, has peace. Peace of God is calm. There's determination there. There's completeness there. There's a sense of beauty and wonder and awe there. There's restoration there. There's rest there. It's a beautiful, beautiful place there. There's energy and high vibration. Anything that you can want, anything that you can imagine can show up in that space because you've created space for it to exist. And as we just breathe, being aware of being alive, breathe unencumbered with those things that we released. Breathe with a sense of freedom and ease. Stoking the fire of being able to imagine and hear clearly and see clearly those things that would make us, bring us joy, that would surround us with love and allow us to love freely without any reservations, without any stories attached to it. Really be in a space of unconditional love. Just give thanks this morning. Just pray for those who are searching, longing for the words, for the tools to arrive at this space where we are right now, to acquire the knowledge of their ability to release things that no longer serve them, that to release stagnant energy, to release the stories that have them wound up and bound up and stuck in a place, to release the need to control situations and release the need to please the people. Just pray a special prayer for those who are caught up, locked up in a vicious cycle of questioning, trying to figure it all out. We ask that you open their minds and allow them to feel and accept the grace and the outlet, which seems so simple and too simple to work, and it's just to let it go, to release themselves, to let it go, and to create that space for their healing, for their personal resolve, to be complete within themselves, and then to extend that out into their relationships, on their job, in their finances, and in whatever endeavors come their way as life is life, and that they can show up knowing that they can make choices and that they can create the life that they desire and deserve. We pray for those who are moving through transitional phases in their lives, who are dealing with abrupt change, who are dealing with situations that they're just trying to find their footing in. We pray for fragile hearts and fragile minds. We pray for family units. We pray for relationships, and we pray for just peace, a sense of hopefulness. Pray for the ability to reach beyond human limitations of not wanting to let go of being right, justifying why we are the way we are, and all of that just prevents us from moving in love, from having that connection to one another. We just pray for that awareness when it shows up, that we are the ones that are stifling ourselves, and we are the ones that are disconnecting and using old patterns and ways of coping, and we're separating ourselves from the fire. We pray that we can move in acceptance of that and begin to lay those things aside, vibrate as our highest selves, and create a new way, a new space. If there's anyone who wants to pray in this space, please come in. We give thanks for the opportunity once again to sit around the fire as we encourage one another and find encouragement in the group, as we remember our greatness, as we remember our divinity, as we release those burdens, those mindset, those patterns, those dispositions that would hold us hostage and not allow us to live in the beautiful abundance of all that we have and all that is available to us. Just continue to walk in gratitude, and allow ourselves the opportunity to grow, the opportunity to learn, the opportunity to try on things that may fit today but not fit tomorrow, but not be bound in those things, but to experience life in the fullest. And in this space, we're just grateful for the opportunity to just be. And with that, we give thanks for the breath, thanks for the consciousness that flows through all of us. We give thanks for our spiritual entourage that's met us here today and has left us with questions or things to think about. What are we going to put into this new space? And the desire to continue to create space, to release those things that have expired, and to create space to bring in new things, new ideas, new experiences, and doing it as authentic and true and real to ourselves as possible. We give thanks on this morning. We say Ashe, Ashe, and Ashe.
Ashe.
Amen.
Ashe.
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 Release this space. Have a wonderful week. And think about it. What are you going to create in your new space? And how are you going to show up in your new space? And when you find yourself pulling things from out the trash and trying to decorate your space because I think it'll look good in here, become aware of what you're doing, because that's going. We're creating new things. Ashe?
Ashe.
Ashe.
All right.
Blessings. Blessings.
Have a beautiful, beautiful week, rest of your week, and we'll see you back in the same place next week, Wednesday morning, 4:30 a.m. for prayer and meditation.
All right.
Appreciate
Ashe.
that.
Thank you.
Everybody here. Enjoy your life.
Yes.